Hey guys, it's me again, and I'm here to do another review for you. And pretty much because I just keep on mentioning this movie on this channel for so long. I don't know how long it's been. It was my first it was my first trailer reaction. It was a part of a theory video. And it was like, it's pretty much been all over my channel. I even did a reaction to the poster. That's how freaking much of a fan I am of this. And if you guys don't know what it is, I mean, are you guys really shocked? Of course, it's gonna be this. Honestly, if you guys haven't noticed, then what's wrong with you? But we're going to be I'm gonna be giving my review today of Hotel Transylvania because the sequel will be coming out next week. I'm gonna be the first in line to get my ticket. So, when I initially knew about this movie, I did not know any past history behind it. I did not know that, you know, Genndy Tartakovsky was making it. I just saw the trailer and I thought, this looks really generic. It looks really, really generic. And that was my mindset on actually going into this. And I saw more ads where it's like, okay, well, I'll go give it a shot because it looks cool and the concept is cool. So I went in there, you know, grabbing my popcorn, my soda, a few snacks. I mean, I went in there expecting nothing. Boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong to judge it. Well, first off, let me just tell you the story, or, you know, the concept behind this movie. So pretty much it's a hotel filled with monsters, and Dracula is running this hotel, keeping his daughter Mavis inside for about 118 years to stay away from humans until she turns 118, in which case she wants to go out and actually see the world. And that may all change because it turns out that a human has stumbled onto the hotel. And Dracula has to keep it a secret, basically, from all of his friends, including Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, the Wolfman, all kinds of creatures that, you know, are from the Universal Monster studio, pretty much. And, you know, from concept, that actually sounds pretty cool. But I can see why people will be thrown off because of the actual story. This is another story about a overprotective father, his daughter wanting to go out and see the world, and then someone coming to change that along. And I will not deny that it's a really, really generic story. It's a really generic story to be played up in animated films, and we all get sick and tired of hearing that story. Good God, when is it gonna end? How did they manage to pull it off as good as they did? As good as, like, you know, as a, like, I would say kind of a medium studio that Spa is. How did they manage to pull this out of the water? But I'm getting really too carried away. I should talk about this in order because I want to talk about all the things in order, because there's just so much to talk about with what might be so little. So let's just get right into it. First, I'm gonna start with the actual story, which I've been talking about for the past 3 minutes now. I'm not sure, but pretty much the story is just exactly that. I mean, you know exactly where it's gonna go and how are they going to pull it off. You know everything, every single detail. So what does pull this story up, for me at least? Because I heard this story. I've seen it done to death. I'm tired of it too, guys. You don't, I'm not one of those people who holds on to cliches. Like, I get sick and tired of cliches too. That liar revealed cliche is done for me. I mean, I'm really getting tired of some of these cliches in family entertainment. What pulls it off is the actual concept itself. Monsters, a monster hotel is actually really cool. Like, you just imagine it. Like, any monster that you could think of, even modern day monsters you could think of, being crammed into one place. I mean, that itself is like, when have you seen that? In fact, when have you seen, the last time I could think of something that actually happened like that was the old school, like, I think it was like, I can't remember. It was like a Rankin Bass animated stop motion film from the 60s. And it was like, Monster Party. Yeah, that was the one, Monster Party. And it was the same concept, all these monsters coming together and just, throwing a party, except, now that you have, like, a whole, like, CGI rendition of it and actually updated. I mean, it just like, holds it, like, together and stuff like that. And I really do believe that the setting and the concept is really good enough to sometimes overpass that story, to just let it sink in, and let the environment sink in as well, because oh wow, the environment in this movie, some of the best let me sink my teeth into this environment type story that I have pretty much ever seen from an animated film. And this is an animated comedy. I mean, I can get some out of animated, like, dramedies, but, like, I can't really get it much of an animated comedy, because they don't really, like, they're focused on telling their jokes more, and not really much focusing on much of the characters, or pretty much anything of this setup that they can create with the world. But here, this does. I mean, the jokes pretty much rely on the setting, and honestly, for me, it's like one of the greatest slapstick comedies that I have ever seen. In terms of animated, this is probably the best slapstick comedy out there. I mean, the animation is like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's really quick, and it really does play well with the setting and the environment. And I can excuse that for the story, because they're taking advantage of, hey, this is a dumbed down story, but we're going to take advantage of everything that this concept has to offer. And that's what that's why I really like the concept of this movie. I think it is great. And I really do believe that they got really some good environment and character development out of it. But let's just talk about something that is honestly why this shouldn't really be an underrated movie at all. And I think it should be what, I think kids should see it. The animation. How did you get those rigs in the computer to work with that? How did they do that? I mean, I know they had to work with some new software and stuff like that, because, it was like, I know it's hard to get those rigs under, because the characters are literally moving like the speed of missiles throughout this entire movie. And I'm just wondering how. I'll tell you how. Because the director of this movie, Genndy Tartakovsky, cared for the movement of this movie. He cared about how this movement was going to go. And, since this was a comedy, it had to rely on fast-paced slapstick movement of the characters. And by God, is it some of the best movement I have seen to date. It's some of the best animation in terms of comedy I have seen to date. it moves so fast, so quickly, that your mind feels like, I know I'm watching a cartoon, and I know the story is not that deep, but god dang it, if this cartoon isn't like, isn't like fast, it's energetic, it's riveting, and it really is something to see. Because not only did they get a lot of the fast movement and the pacing done great, but they also got the textures of the whole entire setting. I mean, they got the textures of the castle and the backgrounds and stuff like that. I mean, they probably like put a lot of detail into the backgrounds, and then you have some moments where it just looks like a painting, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, like awe-inspiringly gorgeous to look at. And, I know that why they had to do that. You can't get too over detailed, or else you won't know what your eyes are supposed to look at. But Genndy Tartakovsky knew how to make it detailed. He knew how to make it energetic, and that's why I love the animation in this. He did something where no CGI animated film have ever done before. This is the fastest movement I have seen in comedy to date, and it works. It works on a joke, on a comedic level, and it works on a visual level. And to me, those are the two most important things that you need to have. You need to have visuals in your comedy if you want it to be a slapstick comedy. And, not so much verbal talking and stuff like that. People forget that, hey, comedy can also have slapstick too. And it can be funny. Okay, we don't always need to have, these comedians who always have to do stand-up comedy. We don't need that all the time, guys. Like, sometimes we can go for that type of, Warner Brothers, Tex Avery type comedy. I mean, we can always do that. And I really do believe that this film nailed it. It nailed what it had to do. And I'm really proud for Genndy Tartakovsky actually having to do that. I'm really happy that he actually put this on the mainstream. Now, enough of me rambling, glorifying every single aspect of the animation. Let me just move on now to the characters. You might think that they were generic on the inside. Like, hey, here's the overprotective father. Here's the daughter who wants to go out into the world. Here's the guy who's going to change his and her opinion. Here are his friends. I mean, it sounds like, hey, these characters are cookie cutter, and they're not going to influence me at all. I was wrong about that too. Because the characters in here, they make a difference in actually what you're watching. And they're funny as well. They have great comedic timing with what they can do with, their animation and with their voice acting. I want to take a minute to glorify the voice acting in this movie. To me, it is probably one of the best uses of celebrity voice acting that I have ever seen in a movie. 'Cause, okay, I need to talk about the cast, because that's what many people are turned off from this movie for. The cast consists of Happy Madison alumni. So if you guys don't know who that is, this is the all-dreaded, comedian now that, apparently is supposedly the, abomination of comedy. I mean, I mean, he's not bad in my book. I've seen him do a lot of great things. He just needs to be put in a lot of great things, and thankfully he was put